Ultra 7 is what I'd call the end of Eiji Tsuburaya's initial Ultra trilogy that included Ultra Q, Ultraman, and Ultra 7. From this point on, while Eiji approved of the Ultra series continuing before his death in 1969, the series would go past what its creator and his original staff intended. It became a franchise, a brand, a set of ideals, and most importantly, an outlet for new creative people in writing, directing, and special effects to express themselves and inspire a new generation of filmmakers and human beings. And this era would begin with a return to Ultraman. Return of Ultraman follows Hideki Go, a race car driver who dies in the middle of a monster attack trying to save people in danger. Ultraman Jack is moved by the heroism and decides to bond with Hideki to give him a second chance at life as a new Ultraman. Joining with the monster attack team Matt, Hideki Go must adjust to his new position and role as a protector of Earth. Now, Hideki Go himself is a very interesting character, as he's one of the first Ultramen not to start off as an ideal protagonist. He's just a basic human thrown into the protector role, and basic humans are flawed as heck. He starts off cocky and rude to his teammates, which causes a lot of conflict between them, though he ultimately does have his heart in the right place even at the start of the show. It just took a few living experience to bring out the best in our protagonist. Though what I love most about Hideki is the flavor text around his character. He has friends and hobbies outside of the Matt agenda, which is unheard of in the Ultra series till now, since it was always very focused on the defense team. Speaking of Matt, while the individual members lack character in my opinion, I think their actions against Kaiju are quite a fascinating showcase of how Return of Ultraman progressed as a series. They start off living up to their name and attacking monsters, even if they're just minding their own business and not harming anyone. The early episodes where these happen give me the vibe that they were still figuring out how to define Ultraman for the new decade of the 1970s. Not saying these episodes are bad, far from it, I quite enjoy a lot of them, but they didn't feel as thematically or conceptually grand or well thought out as something like Ultra 7. However, by the halfway point of the show, around episodes 23 to 38, we got some of the best Ultraman stories out there that showed that Ultraman's compassionate yet critical edge was still there for a new generation. I'll only talk about a couple of my favorites today, but in the description of this video, I'll link a review that gives more concrete episode recommendations. Anyway, episode 31 involves Hideki beefing with a deaf human boy who's actually a telepathic alien named Zeran in disguise. There's an undeniable creepy atmosphere throughout the entire episode, giving a sense of unease as Hideki tries to warn everyone to no avail. He does eventually stop the threat, but not before we see the alien's brutal fate. And if you thought that was dark, we still have episode 33 to talk about, which is considered one of the best episodes in the Showa era of Ultraman. Featuring an intense one-shot fight scene, it contains a powerful story of dealing with the dark prejudice of the selfish side of humanity through a boy and his adoptive alien father. There's this scene before the big fight where a kaiju attacks and Hideki just stands there as the oppressors panic. You can see on his face that he's considering not saving the day this time. I mean, as soon as the battle is done, they're unlikely to learn their lesson. But that's not right. That would mean abandoning humanity, and that's not the way of a hero, especially Ultraman. Of course, there's the god-awful self-destructive dark side to humanity, but on the other hand, there's just the boy who wanted to live, who after the fight kept on digging like he did at the beginning of the episode. Ultraman will fight, not for the sake of fighting or out of obligation, but for the justice that the good people want, especially those under oppression. Overall, I can see why Return of Ultraman is a fan favorite for so many out there, with its dramatic episodes and dynamic main character. Airing around the same time as the original Kamen Rider series, it helped reinvent and popularize tokusatsu heroes for generations to come. So even if you're not the biggest fan of this show, put some respect in its name when it comes up. Another great Ultraman show, another high recommendation from me.